Hey everybody, tonight we're going to be talking about a mechanical slider with Teflon and stainless steel. It has no name as far as I'm aware, and the maker is unknown. I initially bought this on AliExpress, but that store has long since disappeared. I was kind of happy to find it on Amazon, so I'll be providing a link in the comments where you can find it on Amazon. A little bit more than what I paid for it, but what I wanted to do is compare this to a few very similar pieces, in fact what I would consider like direct competition, and because I think that's usually what I hear from people in the comments is how does this compare to that or that or that. There's a few things to be balanced out here. What's it worth compared to what you get? So we'll be just comparing these 4 other pieces mainly, but talking about a few others. Do the usual, try to have some fun, so please stick around, join me, and we'll take it from here. Well, sliders of this nature have become pretty ubiquitous. You usually have at least 2 tracks or 1 track of detents, either spaced out apart from each other or close together, and then usually some type of limiting mechanism. And in this case you have the usual pin in the middle that hits this little track on the inside, keeps it from coming off. Real simple to take apart. Usual construction. There's 2 springs and 2 balls located right about in here. We'll take it apart pretty quickly, but there's not much to it other than that. But I did just watch Kyle Spencer's video on his channel, Fidget Focused. Interesting. He just talked about his titanium version of this. Now I have this set up for 4 clicks in either direction, and if you put it on the detents on the inside, you get something like 11, I think, in either direction. And I agreed with him a lot on this one. But and he was talking about this one. He had mentioned how these are kind of becoming pretty common. They have been around for a while. He thought maybe that the Ding Ding, this is a copy of the Ding, not a copy. This is an actual Ding Ding slider from INS Works, one of the original ones. Black stainless steel. And I was pretty happy with it. But at the time, these were still kind of rare. And the price tag on this, I think, is pretty unusual. Let's just go over that real quick here. If you want to buy a feeling slider, this is from 01, you can still find these. You have to be careful not to mistake it with the 3-level one that's magnetic. But these were originally released as something affordable. And it was priced at around $65, $70. Stainless steel, really nice design. I love it, namely because of the shape, and that's probably what's going to resonate throughout my discussion here is I like the shape. Yes, the interiors are likely a very similar design, used again ubiquitously throughout the design community. However, the shape on the outside makes all the difference. What's it made out of? How heavy is it? How dense is it? What kind of other functions does it have? Can it do multiple things like that one and this one? So shape and functionality are big for me, but I think these have been around a lot longer than the Ding Ding slider has. And just the examples that I had in my collection were, first was this. This was one of the first mechanical sliders that I had. It's all PEI, and I tried to limit this discussion to things that were metallic on the outside with a Teflon or a plastic dovetail insert. But this one is PEI all the way through. The dovetail piece is PEI. Either way, springs and balls, same orientation. This came around, was one of the first pieces in my collection, I think. I think you could still find these. They're only 5 clicks in either direction. And they have a nice little keychain or a lanyard slot that does fit my clip. And at the beginning I thought, boy, I'd really love to collect these in all the different materials. And I've seen these in different things like Zerk and stainless steel and even copper. But the prices were a little too high for me. I did splurge on this piece, which would be even older, I would imagine, than this. And this is used. There's still another one of these available used, but basically the same thing. Now they're not identical; they don't fit together, but it's basically the same thing. This one was advertised as a Xiaoping slider. I have no idea what that means, if that's a general term for this particular style. because they're both almost identical. Almost identical. This one has the nice decorative stuff on the outside. Of course, this one's made out of teak. But I think these were around a long, long time before the Ding Ding, and everything just evolves around that. And I love the fact that that something that simple can be used in so many different ways, because it really does. Everybody that makes one of these approaches the problems of friction in a different way, and fit. So some pieces are made with high quality, low tolerances, no sloppiness, you know, and then some aren't. And shape, weight, design, the feel of it. This, of course, would cost more money because it took more money to machine those surfaces, but it also has extra features. But I guess I'm getting a little bit off track. Let's just take a pause here and regather my thoughts. Well, let's just quickly go through pricing and what you would pay if you want to find any of these today. Now this one, the 01 EDC feeling slider in stainless steel, is going to be around $75 brand new. Ding Ding sliders from INS in stainless steel are still $60. I personally would not pay $60 for something like this anymore. This, like I said, a little more expensive because of the machining. It does have multiple functions, and right now I'm using it with everything loaded onto it, just kind of like Kyle was saying. It's a little bit mushy, but this one still does have a detectable pattern to it, even though it is on the mushy side. But this one, like I said, it can be either a nice singular click, 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 and I think it's 8 or 9 clicks in either direction, or if you put in the additional 2 balls and springs, you get this feature, which is awesome. And these, of course, with all that extra stuff, cost a little more, about $60. So, you know, does $60 for this and $60 for this seem fair? I kind of don't think so. Not anymore. You know, we're evolving here a little bit. The price of these ought to come down. I think $60 for this is fair. This is almost revolutionary in my opinion. Now, they did have a sale recently because of the holidays, I suppose, but the DJG in stainless was only $25, and it might be $30 now. And if you want the titanium one, like Kyle has, it's only $5 more. And it offers the same sort of features. It doesn't have the greatest of all lanyard attachment points, but it will accept a 550 paracord. You've got this dual option here. If you use the outside tracks only, you'll get 4 clicks in either direction. That's how I have it set up. And if you use the inside tracks, I think it's like 11 clicks in either direction. But excellent machining, excellent fit, everything about it. Nice little inlaid. Now my stainless steel version has a brass inlay on both sides, and Kyle's titanium version will have a copper inlay. Both of them will tarnish over time and look kind of interesting. The copper will probably look even better. And again, the stainless steel one is denser, so the clicks are a little quieter. I think it's a little better in my opinion. Now, the aluminum would be lighter, and so if you want to carry something lighter in your pocket, that's good, but because it is so dense, it'll be a lot louder with the clicks. And I think that's the conclusion that Kyle came up with as well. So this one's $50. I paid about $45 initially. And again, that was maybe 8 months ago from a store that doesn't really exist anymore. So $50, is this worth $50? To me, I'd say it's worth it to me. Based on, I like the shape a lot. Like this, when I got this in my hands, I just thought, this feels just like the little hotel soaps that you'd steal from a hotel or motel. The little tiny bars of soap. And then I should point out that I have the nylon, the POM 3mm balls installed in this right now, so it's like super quiet. Normally it would have, you could use stainless steel or ceramic, whatever you like, glass, be a lot louder, but I have it quieted down quite a bit. But with this one, it was all about shape. And then I love it with the POM balls in there. This is something I could get away with at work. This one has glass balls. It didn't come with anything. I don't recall that it came with anything. I really don't think it did. It's hard to tell. When you buy one off of the link that I'm showing you to Amazon, we're going to have to assume that it is this piece because it sure looks like it. So, you know, buy it at your own risk. But I think we're safe. I think we're safe in assuming that it's the same. This one again has those wonderful multiple clicks. But if I slow it down, you'll hear there is a bit of a pattern to it. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10. It's hard to count, but there is a detectable, repeatable pattern in there. It's not what I would call mushy. I like that a lot. And that's $60 again. This one, back to this one. I think I'm getting a little bit out of order with my discussion here, and I apologize for that. But this, the DJG, for $25, $30, kind of outbeats almost anything out here. And that's wonderful news for a person who likes to collect these things. But it does make me question whether I really want to spend $50 on something like this or not. In my case, I think this is worth it for me. For me, this is nice and thin. It's a totally different shape on the outside. It's really easy to use. The tolerances are a little bit loose, but it makes for a good slide. And I'm very pleased with that. And I think it's within the current realm of what these things are going for. Had this been anything more than $50, I would really seriously question it. But it was just interesting enough to me that it was worth it. So that, I think, is where we can leave that. Let's just compare these, but first we'll do the two pieces that people are more likely to have. And I will just pause here in case I make any mistakes. Okay, so yeah, I often try to break these up into little segments in case I make a mistake. I can go back and clean things up a little bit. Here we have the top B from Metal Toys DZ, side by side. That one doesn't open up very far, of course. The other popular one is the Mackie CP3. And now the Feeling slider in stainless by 01 EDC. The Ding Ding slider in stainless. Let's start with normal. The Starry slider. Finally, Mechanical by DJG. These are almost identically the same length. This one's a little bit thinner. I think this is probably a little bit thinner than all of the other ones. So there you have it. Let's do weights and measurements next. Okay, let's measure this puppy and then we'll take her apart quick. When it's closed, we're at 47 millimeters. by 25 millimeters by 10. And when it's fully extended, we're at about 66, 67. Now for weight, there's no magnets in this, so it won't affect the scale. About 63 grams. Okay. All right, let's take this puppy apart. I have with me today a 5/64 bit. So that's what I happen to have available that fit this fairly well. Now, I didn't bother looking for the other bits, but try to find the best fit that you can. This is likely metric and not empirical. 5/64 is an empirical measurement. That's likely metric, and I have metric bits, but this fits well enough. Find something that'll fit. Don't let it be too loose, because then you risk either stripping the tool or the screw. Oftentimes a Torx bit will fit into an Allen head. So this is an Allen head. Like I said, again, I'm using 5/64. I'm just gently going to hold everything together in this direction so that the springs don't fly out. There's one screw. Two screw, bring it back together. I like to look at the side here and see that shape of a T. I want that T to be standing up when it faces me. And then I can just gently lift everything off. And here you have 2 balls and 2 springs. And then your other side has the Teflon plate and a tiny little set screw down in here that stops it, that rides in this groove, and that stops it from going too far. That's your limiting mechanism. And for that, if you want to have to mess around with it, I found that a T6 fits the best. We'll just pop that out while we're here. You only have to unscrew it far enough for this to pass through. There we go. So the bottom of the screw just comes out from here and goes into this track. But if it goes in too far, you'll see maybe in the reflection a little bit of a scratch line there. So you want to watch out for that. If you over tighten it, that's what will happen. So you want to put that back together again, turn this in. What I do is gently turn it in until it is too far, until it stops. And you'll know because this won't want to move anymore. Don't do that too hard or you'll break it. But once you get to that point, now back it off, maybe a whole turn, and then give it a couple runs. Is it rubbing against anything? I don't hear it rubbing against anything, so I think we're okay. And then hopefully, over time, that won't vibrate loose downwards or outwards. Either way, if it does, it'll start rubbing against something and you'll hear it. That'll be a good time to take it out and investigate. But I haven't had any problems with it so far, and I have had this for about 8 months. So put that together back like that. Like I said, I don't have the original packaging. I don't know if it came with any extra parts. I really don't think it did. But we've got glass ball, and then 2 springs, which appear to be 4 millimeters by 3 millimeters diameter, and they're fairly springy. Again, I didn't bring my other calipers to get a fine measurement on that wire diameter, but I'll bet those are 0.25 millimeters. So fairly springy, but not too springy. And they sit down into these 2 little countersinks. You put your balls back on top of the springs. And then it's just a matter of carefully trying to line up these 2 holes with those 2 springs balancing up in the air like that. You want to bring this straight down. So, let's do that. Everything seems to have gone together well. I'm holding everything together. And now I'm going to move it. It's clicking nicely. That's good. Now you need to just put the screws back in, but you need to make sure the hole of the Teflon is lined up with the hole from the stainless steel. You can do that visually. Just look at it. Put your screw back in there. I think we need to we need to switch the bits back. Again, always turn your screws in a counterclockwise direction until you hear the click. Once you hear that click, you can start to turn clockwise, and then just get it to where it's snug. Same thing with the other side. Doing this will prevent you from stripping or cross-threading your screws, or ruining, worse, the toy itself. So that's it. Everything goes back together just like a normal slider of this design. Again, I think it's worth it for me because I really like the shape, the feel, the size. Every one of these has a different feel to it. And I'm pretty happy with that. So it's up to you. You know, $50. If I were you getting your first slider right now, I think the top one I'd recommend would be the D.J.8 in stainless because of all the variety it has, the price. But perhaps this is something you would like. That's it. I don't think I have anything else more to say about it. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks for watching.